EA has recently announced that they are temporarily removing microtransactions from Star Wars Battlefront 2. This announcement of course comes after a huge amount of backlash for the pay to possibly win system that the game had implemented. As of right now, the only way to progress is by actually playing the game, which is great news, and hopefully it stays that way. Today I would like to talk about a few of the changes I'd love to see DICE make to the game. First of all is the progression system itself. As of right now, your class rank depends on how many star cards you have, and I personally find the system to be broken. I feel that players should rank up their classes by simply playing as them, and maybe completing a few milestones along the way. The rank should be able to determine what star cards you are able to use. The higher the rank, the higher tier star cards you can use. I don't think this is a perfect system, but it would be much better than what is currently implemented in the game. But with this in mind, I'd also like to talk about the reward system a little bit. I feel like it needs a bit of a buff. Players should earn way more credits and crafting parts depending on their performance in-game, because right now, the amount is really low. And while we speak of rewards, let's talk a little bit about the arcade mode rewards. If I'm not mistaken, currently you can earn 100 credits from playing a game of arcade, whether you win or lose. On top of this, you're only able to play 5 games a day in which you actually earn credits. After the 5th game, you have to wait until the next day to be able to earn the credits. So in total, you're only able to make 500 credits a day in the arcade mode. As DICE has said, the system is in place to stop people from just farming credits, but I feel that this needs to be looked at and adjusted so that people that just enjoy playing arcade mode are able to earn the credits and progress through the game as well. I do feel that DICE really cares about this game and doesn't want it to be hated. During the early access, heroes like Vader and Luke were unlocked with 60,000 credits. They have since reduced the price for heroes by 75%. Luke and Vader now only cost 15,000, while most other characters are at 10,000. With an exception of Aiden, who is only 5,000. There were also rumors floating around that rewards were cut by 75% as well, which is all false from what I understand. The only thing reduced in terms of rewards was the reward for finishing the story mode, which only gave you 20k in the past. Now it only gives you 5k to match the price of Aiden Versio. I personally think the heroes are a little bit too low in price, considering I've already unlocked them all with less than 2 days of gameplay. That's just my opinion. But good on you DICE and EA for listening and making those changes. Sticking to the theme of arcade mode, I think there's a couple things that should also be implemented into the game. And first of all is online mode. Right now you can only play solo or local co-op. There's no online supported, and I think that's a big mistake. I'd love to be able to play in the arcade mode with some of my friends, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen, and that's kind of a shame. My next suggestion is a little bit big, but I think it could be implemented eventually into the future, and what that is offline multiplayer. By this I mean having game modes and maps for multiplayer being available to be played offline with AI similar to the older Battlefront games. That'd be a great testing ground for when we unlock new maps, weapons, abilities, heroes, vehicles, you name it. Next up, I'd like to focus on some of the in-game adjustments that need to be made, as well as a couple of bugs. There are some locations like on Theed Galactic Assault, where one team gets screwed over when retreating. On Theed specifically, this happens when the clones are retreating to the Throne Room defending stage. The doors from the previous stage seem to close really fast and won't open back up for players to retreat. They essentially get stuck in the previous phase of location with all the enemies surrounding them, and so they really have no chance of surviving. And that sucks, especially when you have a hero. And that's just one example, but I'm sure there are more of them across the game. There's also some things that I think need to be tweaked in the Galactic Assault mode, such as the air combat. On certain maps like Starkiller Base, one team can just get up into the air, take out a bunch of AI vehicles, and then they can spawn as a hero really quickly, and this puts the opposite team at a major disadvantage. There are also just a lot of really annoying bugs. There are times when I have to click the game like 10 times for it to actually quit, and that's really annoying. It just wastes time, and it should be fixed instantly. Of course, you have some bugs like the standard getting stuck on a loading screen that happens in most games, but I think something should be done with this game because it seems to be worse than some others. This next one is kind of just a nitpick, but when you're in the career tab, and you're trying to go redeem a challenge that you finished, sometimes the redeem button doesn't pop up, it's delayed, and that just really bothers me. And as this video comes to a close, I'd just like to touch on some of the things I would like to see make their way into the game eventually. In the previous Battlefront, I thought the game lacked some of the stats I would like to have seen, and is lacking even more so this time. I'd like to be able to see my win-loss ratio, accuracy information, kill counts, etc. And going deeper, I'd like to see detailed stats for each class, hero, vehicle, game mode, weapon, ability, and everything else. This would make tracking info for milestones much easier, and it'd be much more fun to compare some of these numbers with other players. I'd also like to see some new game modes make their way into the game, because right now, 5 game modes doesn't seem like a whole lot. I think adding a capture the flag type game mode, like the game mode in the 2015 game, would be a nice touch. I would also like to add a conquest mode, similar to the one in the older Battlefront games, but also like the one in the most recent Battlefield games. Right now the only big mode is Galactic Assault, and I'd love to get a little bit more variety in the big battle gameplay. And the last thing I'd like to request is private matches. Just playing alone with friends in a custom game can be a lot of fun, so I hope that makes its way into the game soon, like it did with the previous one. As mentioned earlier, I really do think DICE cares about this game, and that they really want to make it something amazing. They did an AMA on Reddit a couple days ago, and they touched on a few of the points I made in this video. I think this game could have a bright future if it's handled correctly. The gameplay is great and leaps better than the last game, but unfortunately it's being overshadowed by EA's greed. To anyone at EA that probably isn't listening to this video, the game will do much better if you genuinely cared about your product and your customers. Please do not add any more microtransactions to the game that affect gameplay. It's such a bad system that doesn't need to be there. And to the angry fans who are outraged over how this game has turned out, I ask you not to shout and scream at the developers. Don't send death threats or anything else stupid like that. We need to work with them to express our thoughts in a polite and civil manner. Let's have some good discussion with them about changes we think should be made rather than making a fool of ourselves. And that pretty much wraps it up, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video or agreed with any of the points I made in this video, please leave it a like rating, as well as share it around to other Battlefront fans. I would love to make a series of videos similar to this one to hopefully help improve the game, so if you'd like to see me do that, let me know in the comments down below, and feel free to subscribe. I'll have a ton more Battlefront 2 videos coming in the near future. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time, and may the Force be with you.